Well, hello there. Welcome to today's live stream, and we are discussing quite a lot of things today. So, you're probably wondering what we're discussing, and what should we start off with?
We'll start off. Let's talk about what have we been watching. What have you been watching the last week or so, Jacob?
Well, I've been watching the prequel to The Terminal List with Chris Pratt, and this is about a character named Ben and what he got up to leading to events to the main show. So this is 5 years before before the events that led up to the main show.
Okay, and what's the Terminal List? I've never watched this show.
The Terminal List is basically about SEAL team soldiers and showing them get brutally murdered in the original show, and then him getting revenge against the people that were responsible.
Okay, and was that a good show?
I enjoyed the first show very much.
And what do you think about the prequel?
It's very good, yeah.
Okay. What else have you watched?
Besides that, not as much. Been going back to 12 Men and been watching a little bit of anime. Just finished the Lego Reborn. That was good as well.
Okay, what's that? Lego Reborn?
It was basically reshaping the galaxy and seeing different characters. The good characters became bad, and the bad characters became good.
Okay, is it a show or a movie? Or?
It's a show.
And like, who's it feature? Like good and bad characters, like Batman and stuff, or?
It's Star Wars characters. So
okay.
Darth Vader is a good character, and Rey's a bad character, and Jar Jar's a bad Sith character.
Okay, what's that? Is that on Disney or something?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I love this idea of rebirthing things and swapping things around. I guess it's a way of keeping content fresh. What have I been watching? Actually, have you been watching any more It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, not yet.
How many episodes you got?
Just one.
Just the first? Okay. Well, I'm excited to see if you continue. It is my favourite show. What have I been watching? In terms of movies, I rewatched, what's it called? The Iron Claw the other day.
How was it watching it a second time?
It wasn't as good, and I really loved the movie. I just think watching the second time, it just felt really slow. But I still really like it, and I recommend it to people, but maybe it's a movie you can only really watch once.
Yeah.
I think when you know what's going to happen with the family, it kind of takes the surprise and sting out of it. So I think it's one of those movies that gets you the first time, but probably doesn't have rewatchability.
You think kind of like Oppenheimer?
Yeah, something like that, I think. And Oppenheimer's a very long movie, so that's something I think to watch a second time, you've got to be pretty committed. Shows, I've watched 3 out of 4 episodes of Marvel Zombies, which we can talk about a bit later. Continuing to watch The Neighborhood. I've got 1 episode left of Peacemaker. I think maybe I finished it. I don't know. The episode I watched, I guess, could have been the finale, but I think there might be another one. Watch that. And
what's your thoughts about Peacemaker? Is it as good as season 1, or it feels okay?
No, I think it's as good as season 1. Season 1 was really fun and like just new, and this is kind of, you know what to expect, so it's less shock. But I do think it's quite good. It's a show that I think is a very easy watch, and I think Peacemaker's it's a good hero because he's not too special, and he doesn't fight too big a villain. So I think it's quite cool. So I'm enjoying season 2 of Peacemaker, and beyond that, I really haven't watched a whole lot. Peacemaker's been like probably the main new show I've been watching, and I guess I need to get back into continuing with The Bear. So.
Haven't you also been watching the NFL show as well?
Oh, yes. So Chad Powers. I've watched the 3 episodes that are out so far.
That's actually a Hulu show.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it's very good. I think it's somewhat going to be... It's simple and predictable, which I enjoy, but if you're looking for something new and groundbreaking, you're not going to get that. But if you're looking for an easy watch, I think it's quite... It is an easy watch. So that's all I've really watched in terms of movie. Oh, sorry, I watched Freakier Friday over the
How was
weekend.
that?
I thought it was fun. I think, we've got a lot of these, body swap movies. There's quite a lot of those. Freaky Friday, obviously, I think it was like 16 years ago it came out. That was, quite a big movie. Lindsay Lohan was a bit of a star at the time. So that movie featured, the mother and daughter swapping because they couldn't agree relating to the mother getting remarried. This movie is kind of cool in a sense because there's a four-way body swap.
Oh.
Yeah, which I can't think of another movie that's done. Oh, no, actually, that's not true. They kind of do that in Jumanji. They swap like 5 people over.
Is it a horror movie or?
No, it's a comedy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in this movie, have you not seen Freaky Friday?
No.
Yeah, so it's a comedy like the Lindsay Lohan's like in high school and, she wants to be a rock star. Her mum, Jamie Lee Curtis, is a psychologist and she's getting remarried because her husband died and, they can't really see eye to eye and they argue. So then they get swapped like through some like Chinese fortune teller or something, causes their bodies to swap. They've got to see things from each other's perspective. Then when they can agree upon things, they swap back. In this film, Lindsay Lohan, she's separated from her husband. She's now getting remarried. The man that she's getting remarried to has a daughter that's goes to school with her daughter, and they hate each other.
Oh.
So then they end up having a four-way swap where the two daughters
Swap.
they become the grandmother and the mother, and then the grandmother and the mother go into the younger body. So there's kind of this fun dynamic of the older people going, "Oh, we're in a young body! Like I can't believe we can do this!" Like they fall over and they're like, "We didn't break anything," and like they feel all young, fit, and agile. And then the younger kids they become old and they like realize the struggles of being older. And so that's the same like funny dynamic of a young person trying to be all professional because they've got to go to work and be the adult, and then the adult getting to muck around and be a kid. So yeah, it's quite funny. As good as the first, I don't think so, but I think the four-way swap was a clever dynamic, but without having the original movie, the four-way swap wouldn't work. So you need the first one for the second one to really work. But overall, I thought it was a good watch. I think if you're a fan of the first one, you'll like this just as much. If you're not a fan of the franchise yet, it's you could give it a miss. It's just your standard kind of teen kind of comedy. Like there's not too much to it, but I think it was alright. I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5. Like it was just good enough. But yeah, nothing groundbreaking.
Did they end it in a way that they will make a third one, or?
They could always continue with it. I guess it kind of. But even the first one kind of ends in a way that they don't need to make another one, but they could. Essentially, it's built around this idea: a life-changing event is occurring. 2 people can't agree on what should happen, and then they have to see things from other people's perspective. So I guess they could infinitely make more of those. But I think if they'll do it again with the same characters, I think people will be like, "This is bullshit. How does this keep happening to them?" So yeah, I don't see them making another one, but ultimately it doesn't end on a cliffhanger where it could. The first one kind of does. It ends with like 2 people disagreeing, and then you think, oh, they're going to make a sequel where they body swap, and then that never happens. They then wait 16 years and do it again with the same characters. So I don't think they'll make another one, but they could. They could literally just pick out any 2 characters and then have the same thing happen to them again. But yeah, I thought it was fun, but not super funny, and not it wasn't the greatest movie I've seen. But if you like the first one, you may as well watch the second one because I think you'll like it if you've liked the first one. Yeah, but yeah, really beyond that, not too much exciting I've been watching.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you've been watching you haven't mentioned yet?
Don't think so.
Okay, so that's what we've been watching. Building on from that, so we're coming to the close of 2025. What do you think about this year's content so far? Are you happy with it? What have you really enjoyed? What is your critiques on it? What have you seen trending this year? What's your view on 2025 so far?
I think in general it's been okay, but I think it's I think the movies have been definitely better than last year, but I don't know. I still think 2023 was a better year.
Yeah, I think this year there's no movie that it's really blown me away this year. I've obviously seen way less movies this year than last, but both the last 2 years I thought have been pretty disappointing, or the movies I've been excited for haven't lived up to expectation. If I was going to compare this year to last year, I feel like maybe last year was better so far. But there is still a few movies left this year that I'm excited to see. I haven't seen the Hurt Machine. I think that's called. Yeah, so it's the Rock movie. So I hear that's quite good. And then we've still got Wicked, the sequel, the second part, Wicked Part 2 to come out at the end of the year, which could, be the best movie of the year. But yeah, I do think it hasn't been as good as last year. I don't know if I've seen a common trend besides the fact that I think we're moving away from. There's not as many big films coming out. It's more the smaller films.
Yeah.
A lot of A24 films. But again, A24 I don't think pumped out as many this year as they did last year.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, is this are we seeing the lack in movies due, like this is the fallout from the writer's strike a few years back, or are people just afraid to make content, or are we moving towards a streaming-based economy now where that's where the go-to is? In terms of shows, definitely I think we're starting to see a lot of sequels and prequels and spin-off shows come to fruition. Sitcoms are slowly going back to they're an old formula, but they all tend to be family-based. Like most sitcoms I see tend to be set in a neighborhood or a family. We're seeing a lot less of friends going out having fun, like your How I Met Your Mother, Friends, shows like that. And now more towards like family-based stuff. So I don't know. That's what I've observed. Whether that's good or bad, I'm unsure of. But there's really been nothing that's blown me away this year, whether a TV show or movie. Like maybe the most exciting thing I've watched so far is maybe Peacemaker. I can quickly consult my list of shows. I really enjoyed the latest season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but again, they're shrinking their episodes. They went from doing 10 to 15 a season to now 8, so it's getting pumped out a lot quicker. But yeah, no real show has blown me away this year, and definitely don't really think a movie's blown me away either. So it's been I think it's one of those years when we get to the final and do our rankings. It's not something I'd be too excited about. It might be instead of trying to decide which, like struggling between two, which I thought was the best, it's going to be trying to struggle between going, what's even worthy of making the list? Because there's not really that much that I've been too excited about. What do you think about
that? I definitely think it's more heading towards streaming, and I think what's big things that we got to look forward to. The third Avatar movie, that's not really much to look forward to. The Marvel movies this year were pretty good, but besides that, don't really know. I'm very much looking forward to finishing off Andor, but I think, I don't know if it's the consumers and we're expecting more, or if it's more because of the writer's strike. I think there's a lot of reasons why, and I guess it's a combination of a lot of things that I do like. Last year, I felt like the TV show list was like really strong. What this year, I'm actually struggling more with the TV show list. What with the movie list, I'm actually finding it really like easy. What last year, I was actually struggling with the movie list. It's opposite this year.
Yeah, I think until something that I'm really excited about, like Fallout. There's really nothing on the TV side of things that I'm really keen on. I did have Chad Powers on my anticipated list, and I think it's good, and I'm enjoying it. But again, that's not like, A-list quality production. It's a very basic thing where I think Fallout is something really good and exciting to look forward to. Peacemaker's kind of up there too, but yeah, it's been a slowish year for me. Nothing that I'm, really, really excited about. And as Jake mentioned before, maybe 2023 was probably the real last year. Movies I was super, super excited about, and I thought lived up to expectations. Like even the big, blockbusters in terms of superheroes. Fantastic Four I thought was below.
Okay.
It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and I also think that
I preferred Thunderbolt.
Yeah, and I also thought the Thunderbolts wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So both, I think, in my mind, underperformed to where I was hoping they were going to be. So I think it's been a year of things underperforming. Okay, so the next thing we wanted to talk about is what do we think the biggest name in Hollywood is? So I saw this when we put on our run sheet of things, and I'm kind of stuck. I don't really know who I think is the big dog in Hollywood at the moment. Like ignoring, who gets paid the most or who's had the biggest run of things in the last few years. Who do you think is the go-to top dog, whether it male, female, or both, that, they're going to at the moment in terms of Hollywood?
Would it be Glen Powell?
See, Glen Powell, I think we'd said last year, but he's had a quiet year this year, and I think maybe that's just how movies work. You can't be busy constantly. But yeah, I think in terms of what he's got, Chad Powers out this year, and then he's got the movie coming out, like The Running Man or something like that, or
I think Ryan Gosling might be in that movie.
Yeah, there was something I saw. He's in a movie coming out, and again I was like, okay, I don't think that's like super blockbuster. Let's find it. Was it? I did see another movie coming out today, like in the next few weeks with Channing Tatum as like the Roof Man or something. Where are we? IMDb. The movie he's got coming out that he's in. Previous. Upcoming. The Running Man.
Oh, he is in it.
Yeah, where it's like, again, even that, like what's, I think for someone that's meant to be in demand, that's kind of a movie that you haven't really heard of. So I would have to still think in terms of women, it's still probably Sydney Sweeney. I think she's definitely not the best actress around, but she seems to be the go-to. Maybe that might die off now. She had the whole, my genes are better than yours commercial scandal thing, and people saying that she might be a Nazi. So maybe that might see a bit of decline in her, but we don't. I wouldn't say Angelina Jolie's the go-to anymore, and like Scarlett Johansson's not in that much anymore. Zendaya had a moment, but she doesn't seem to be in much. I don't know. Like Tom Holland as a male had a bit of a moment where he was in a few things, but besides Spider-Man, all these other stuff was kind of like streaming based or like indie films. So, don't know who's the go-to. Timothy Chalamet. I think that he is definitely sought after, but he seems to be very selective in what he does. Obviously, June must take up a bit of his time, but I don't know. The Rock is always a go-to favorite, I think, for people. Like, what have we got? What movies are coming out? And that might give us an idea of who's hot in demand. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio just brought out a new movie, one battle after another, but he's always been selective. He's always been someone to do relatively fewer movies than you'd think. So, The Roof Man is the Channing Tatum one coming out. Mark Wahlberg had his moment, but I don't think he's up there.
He does have a movie on Amazon Prime.
I still think Brad Pitt sits very high up on the list. Like,
Mm.
obviously, F1 is my favorite movie of the year, and it seems to be that Brad Pitt, any movies he's in, tends to have success. So, but you know, I guess there's a point where they stop going for Brad Pitt, or as he ages, the select few, like, his roles decrease. So, like, in terms of like young and upcoming through Hollywood, like, there's not that many movies coming out. So, I think I might, you know, as an old faithful, I think I might stick with Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt for me had the best movie of the year so far, and you know, he seems to be everything he goes to seems to work. He, you know, he can go from comedy to action to, I don't know if he's been in anything horror. He can be in serious. So yeah, I think Brad Pitt might still be the gold standard for males, and you know, Sydney Sweeney seems to be the hottest thing in Hollywood at the moment for females.
Very good choice.
Other thing we wanted to talk about, you were saying what maybe you should think about our favourite Spider-Man. So in terms of feature films about Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield, who is your favourite of the lot?
Well, I've actually been thinking about this, and I know a lot of people would say Tom Holland, but I think Tom Holland is actually the best Peter Parker. He goes to school. He's the best when it comes to Peter Parker. But when it comes to Spider-Man, I actually think it's Andrew Garfield. I know the Amazing Spider-Mans didn't do that well, but I actually liked him as Spider-Man. His movies losing his MJ, that's really something I would like to see is Amazing Spider-Man 3. I know I did grow up with Tobey Maguire, but I think he was stuck because he was a little bit too old between Spider-Man and Peter Parker, and Andrew Garfield was kind of that perfect age that you could buy that he was Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Like, I obviously grew up on the Tobey Maguire ones. I like the idea that his Spider-Man kind of, you know, probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but he got the ability to shoot the webs. He didn't need to make the webs, which I quite liked. I think the villains he had were probably the best. But you're right, Tom Holland for me is the best Peter Parker. He makes the most sense. He at least looks like a kid. He's also, but in saying that, as Spider-Man, he's the most fun. You know, Spider-Man usually is, you know, quite fun in the comic books. He, you know, he makes, you know, snarky remarks. He's like a little kid. So I think Tom Holland does that the best. But I suppose they write that into it. Like, you know, the Tobey Maguire one and the Andrew Garfield, they don't make Spider-Man that playful. So I think the best Spider-Man movies to me are the Tobey Maguire ones. But I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. So I think what makes the Tobey Maguire ones my favourite Spider-Man movies is mainly the origin story. You know, they don't give Tom Holland an origin story.
No.
And I think I enjoy his story arc, you know, with him being in love with MJ and the way that progresses, you know, involving, you know, the fact that he has Green Goblin as well.
Yeah.
Which the others don't.
No.
Besides the No Way Home and stuff, and you know, whatever it's called, they mix them together. But so he has the storyline of that, and then he also involves his friend, Green Goblin's son. I can't think of his name.
Harry Osborn.
Yeah, Harry Osborn. Like it's the only one with Harry Osborn in it. Is there Harry Osborn in the Garfield one?
I can't remember.
And where like the Tom Holland one, you know, it's just kind of a different story arc. Yeah, like it adds in Ned, and you know, he has the chair guy that helps give him intel. Like it's very, very different. So I think I enjoy Tom Holland as Spider-Man the most, but I think Tobey Maguire is the best movies because I think the story arc with Green Goblin that's the better one. And then moving on to having Doc Ock, and you know, I think it's way more influential. You know, Andrew Garfield kind of gets the, you know, the second tier of, you know, villains like, you know, Electro and
the Rhino.
Does he take on Rhino? Yeah, he does. You're right. So it's like, and the Lizard.
Yeah, the Lizard.
So they're alright, but then Tom Holland gets the C list of villains, like the Scab, no, Vulture, and then like Mysterio. Yeah, he gets the C list of villains, but I think he's the best Spider-Man. So yeah, I'm gonna go Tom Holland's. Not necessarily because of Tom Holland, I just think they make Spider-Man playful and the right age. But Tobey Maguire's the best films without a doubt.
Yes. You know, they were actually going to make Spider-Man 4, but because Spider-Man 3 did so badly, we unfortunately didn't get a fourth one.
Was the third one the Venom one?
Yeah. It just had too much in it.
Yeah, I think it had too much, because I think the ones with, so we got so he has Green Goblin in the first one, and is Doc Ock in the first one as well?
Second one.
And the second one. And I probably would have liked to have seen one where he had the Lizard in it. I think that could have worked well. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that. And what was your thoughts? You reckon Tobey Maguire was Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man?
I think he does both roles well, but when it comes to the actual movies, Tobey Maguire has the best movies.
I think Tobey Maguire just looked a little bit too old.
Yes.
But I guess most of the films moved on from, I guess that was the one where it focused on him, getting a job and becoming an adult. So maybe it made the most sense. But yeah, I think that was the fact he got an origin story and we got to see what happened with Uncle Ben. That makes a lot of sense. That kind of influences most of the, the games and the future movies are kind of built off that. So that's probably why they don't bother to go origin story with Tom Holland, because we kind of know that, but then also doesn't make sense why Aunt May's significantly younger and they make her purposely really hot and everyone wants to hit on Aunt May. But yeah, I guess we just believe that he has the same origin story. Okay, so what about Batman? So we've had lots and lots of Batmans, so we'll leave it to ones where they've been in a movie. Thinking maybe we do a top 5. Here's a list of some of the people just to refresh your memory. So we've got Adam West from the 1966 Batman, which is just goofy and silly. Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson. So would you like to go first, or you want me to go first at number 5?
I can go first.
Okay.
At number 5 for me is Ben Affleck. I think out of all the Batmans, he has the most brute strength and the most physicality. But the problem with that is Batman is known to be not killing people, but in this version of Batman as Ben Affleck, you kind of don't believe that message of doing no harm, but physically you believe he's Batman. And Ben Affleck did an okay job as Bruce Wayne. He was probably my favorite actor when it was the DCU, and he's my number 5.
Okay. At number 5, I've got Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Obviously, very, very good actor. His version of Batman was very, very serious. He was a bit older than what I would have thought Batman probably should have been. They didn't give too much origin story as to why he's the way he is. But I do think that those films were quite good. I enjoyed the Michael Keaton ones. So I'm going to have Michael Keaton at number 5. Who you got at number 4?
My number 4 is Michael Keaton. I personally prefer his movies, and I guess his portrayal as Batman, I think, is a little bit better. And seeing him in the new Batman was also cool. And the evolution from him in Batman and then Batman Returns. And it was actually interesting. They were actually going to make a third Batman with Robert Williams as the Riddler. So that was quite interesting. So yeah, he's my number 4.
I do like the fact that Michael Keaton's the only Batman that's in a Christmas movie. It's controversial, but technically I think it is a Christmas movie. So number 4, I've got Ben Affleck. So we've kind of swapped those twos around. I thought Ben Affleck was probably about the right age for where Batman should have been. He kind of oozed that idea that he was like, he looked like a rich businessman. Like I think he played Bruce Wayne the best. So I really like, he to me looked like what Bruce Wayne should be. The way he presented himself, he's very serious and stern. Probably the only bad thing about it was he was Batman in some shit movies. He never got a standalone Batman movie, so he didn't get to see that. So he unfortunately was just the Batman in some bad movies. But I think Ben Affleck would have been a good Batman if he got his own standalone film. So I still want to keep him on the list because I enjoyed his version of Batman. So that's number 4. What do you got at number 3?
My number 3 is Val
Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. I actually enjoy his movies. They're not as legendary as other movies, but I think he portrayed Batman decently. Just the writing and production weren't as high as the top 2 ones.
I've also got Val Kilmer at number 3. I think that he was a very dark and broody and stern Batman. I think he did a good job. It was probably for the time that's what the film needed. It was before things started to get silly with Batman.
George Clooney.
Yeah, so I think he did a really good job. But yeah, probably just wasn't in the best Batman films, but he himself was a good Batman. What do you got at number 2?
My number 2 is Robert Pattinson, and I personally liked his Batman and portrayal more than number 1, but I think it's a little bit unfair to put him at number 1 because he's only been in one movie, but I think his year 2 portrayal and his detective showing skills, and I thought it was a bad acting or actor decision, but he proved me wrong. And out of all the Batman movies, his one is my favorite, but it's a little bit dishonest to put his Batman his portrayal of Batman at number 1.
Very similar, Jacob. I've got Robert Pattinson at number 2. I think that The Batman was the best Batman film, and I'm a massive Batman fan, and that's my favorite. I like the fact that he is a young Batman, where the others haven't really had that, and he makes mistakes, but he is in the best Batman film, and again, he did a really good job. And I thought as well, what bad choice? Why did we need another Batman? We just had Christian Bale, who absolutely nailed it, but I think this was even better. I was glad that we got to see not an origin story, but a beginning to a Batman career, where most of the others we assume Batman's been around for a while, or they're like, oh, there's this new masked vigilante going around, and he's kind of like already good at fighting and knows how to use his stuff. But this one, we got to see it, very raw. I like that the gadgets weren't too gimmicky. I like that his Batmobile wasn't, this crazy looking machine. It was literally like a Ford shed, like a Dodge with, like a bit of a body kit on it. Like, obviously it will build, but it just goes to show that it's in the beginning stages. So I really enjoyed the movie the most, and I thought Robert Pattinson was a very believable, youngish Batman. So we both got, obviously, the same person, number 1. So tell me why you chose Christian Bale.
So why I chose Christian Bale is he's been in more movies. His darker voice and brutish tone, and we've seen him as Bruce Wayne and Batman longer. But why I think Robert Pattinson can get higher than Christian Bale is part of me thinks, was the movies better because of the villain's betrayal or because of him? And to me, that questioning I have questions about it. So we'll see how Batman 2 goes, and if Robert Pattinson's version of Batman exceeds Christian Bale, we'll see how that goes. But definitely a very worthy ruler of the Batman actors.
So I went Christian Bale mainly because consistency. He had 3 movies, and 3 of them would be in the top 4. So I think he kind of killed it. Did such a great job. I also like the fact that in his movies we get a good origin story. You get to see where he did his training through Ra's al Ghul. It ties nicely into the comic books. I think it's more for the true Batman fans. I think some people probably watch those films and gone,
It's too dark.
yeah, it's dark. Why do we care about, the mobs, the Falcone family in the first one? Why do we care about Ra's al Ghul? Why do we care about all these things? But I think it built it really nicely. And then obviously the casual fans got more excited when we got the Joker.
Yes.
I also like the fact it had the Scarecrow in it. I think that's, an underrated villain that doesn't feature in any of the other films. So I think that Christian Bale he is definitely a very good actor. He's psychotic at times, and he's apparently very hard to deal with in real life. But whether it's his acting or he just coincidentally got put in a really good franchise, but I have to put him at number one just through consistency, and we get to see the best of both worlds with him being. He does a good job, Bruce Wayne, and does a really good job as Batman. I question the whole voice he puts on, which and is that necessary? And it's a bit weird, but it's also very iconic. So Christian Bale, I think, deservingly is number one, but Robert Pattinson definitely has the possibility to overtake him.
Mm.
Okay, that's our ranking of the Batmans. We're coming to the close of the things we had planned to talk about. One of them we had was Marvel Zombies. So I was sent the task of trying to finish it by today. I only got 3 out of 4 episodes, but nonetheless, we can talk about it. Tell me, what's your thoughts on Marvel Zombies?
My thoughts about it is, personally, I was a little bit confused because I remembered from the What If episode that the main character was Spider-Man. And then when it started with Ironheart, Hawkeye, and Kamala, I was like, what's going on here? And then once something happens to 2 of the 3, I was like, oh, it's starting to get more interesting. And then I realized, my favorite character of the show is Moon Knight as Blade. But part of me is like, well, why would you have Spider-Man being the main character in that episode and then make Kamala the most important character in the show? It kind of doesn't make sense. But overall, it's only 4 episodes. I think it's definitely worth watching. I definitely think the ending's not that good, but it's a very quick watch and it's a fun show. I just question kind of the start and ending. What's your thoughts?
Well, this show's right down my alley. I'm a big fan of zombies and anything zombie related, so mixing that with Marvel I thought was cool. I felt that the choice of characters in it was very B-list. We got the kind of the characters that got a show and not a movie, or a cameo but not its own film. So there's a lot of that. I felt it was just kind of a way to try and chuck in a few characters to try and build hype. Like Miss Marvel got a show, but it's not really been in much more. Hawkeye, she had the show, it's a bit of a letdown. Ironheart, again, it was just a show, not a film, just trying to squeeze that in.
Yeah.
I also got a bit sick of this idea that it's 5 years on from the breakout, all these people were surviving, yet they all kind of just die, they all sacrifice themselves. There was no point in the last 5 years where that needed, but suddenly they all keep sacrificing themselves for this one mission.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it, so I can't tell you what I think about the ending, but I re-watched the zombie episode from What If yesterday, and it was, to me, way better than any of the episodes within the Marvel zombie show.
Do you think because that's what I said, because it focused on a better character, or do you think it kind of doesn't make sense having Kamala as the main character because she's just, compared to Spider-Man, she's kind of the wrong choice as a main character?
Well, yeah, I think the first one was kind of more fun, and it tied it in with the movies, that, the Hulk comes back to warn people of Thanos, and then you see the Thanos's kind of henchmen come down, and then they're like, basically what happens in the film, but then they get turned into zombies by zombie Tony Stark. So it's cool that that follows on and ties in with the movies because it's kind of, an alternate reality. It also explains where the zombies come from, that it was a virus from the quantum realm that, Professor Pym got when looking for his wife. So it gave him an origin story, and then obviously the focusing on Spider-Man is also a lot more fun. I think maybe they should have built on from that episode. Instead of, they should have literally made the first episode of the zombies what happens next. So I felt that was, let down. I think it was more the B-list characters as well that was like, do I really care? I myself don't think much of Shang-Chi, so I thought there was just a lot of B-list characters in it.
Who's your favourite character from the show?
So far, probably Red Guardian. I do like the fact that they get the actors to do the voicing from the movie, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, him or is it like A.G. Kim? I can't think of his name. The Korean guy that like does the magic and he's in like Ant-Man. So probably between those two are my favorite characters. What about you? You got a favorite character?
Yeah, Moon Knight as well.
Oh yeah, you did say that. Sorry. I probably would have liked a bit of explanation as to why. Was it Shang-Chi or whatever? What's the name of the god that comes out of him?
I forgot.
Why he's chosen Blade?
Yeah.
And whatever happened to Moon Knight?
That's true.
Maybe a bit of explanation of that, or do you assume Moon Knight became a zombie and then the god could then swap because it's a god who its avatar is? So yeah, I think to me it was an opportunity miss, but I need to finish it off before I make that call. But so far it's okay, but I was enjoying it until I went and rewatched the episode of What If. I was like, no, this sucks compared to this episode. So that's what let it down for me.
So what would your score be out of 5 so far?
Maybe like 2.5 to 3. I have to see the ending to decide if that goes up or down. But yeah, it's disappointing because I'm a big fan of zombie-related stuff. So I thought it was cool to mix the two together. Another thing you wanted to do was an actor comparison.
Yep.
So we've been talking about Batman's, we had Ben Affleck, and then, we thought, who was compared with Ben Affleck, and then the most obvious choice was his best mate, Matt Damon. So we thought we'd do a bit of comparison on their careers. So here's some information I've got up about it. So, as we know, they're both childhood friends. They both were extras in Field of Dreams that came out in 1989 because they grew up in the Boston area. They both were in Breakthrough from Good Will Hunting in 1997. I believe they wrote the screenwrite for that. It says here that Ben Affleck has since kind of focused his career on directing. He's obviously acted in a lot of things, but I believe directing's been his main thing. But he's also mainly acted in the films he directed. So Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Argo. There's some critically acclaimed movies that he directed and also was in that won some awards. Where Matt Damon has kind of gone for a lot of movies. Matt Damon's been in a crazy amount of movies, to be honest. Let's find out. So in box office, so as a part of the past calculations, Damon's worldwide box office is cited at being $5.6 million, where Ben Affleck has made $3.9 billion in box office, which includes films such as Batman vs. Superman, Armageddon, and Pearl Harbor. So those are very big grossing films, but it still doesn't mount up to anywhere near Matt Damon. In saying that, Matt Damon has probably been in a lot more films, though. In terms of Damon has been known to having more $100 million grossing films. So he's had 4 films make over $100 million, where Ben Affleck's only had 10. So 14 to 10. So he's had more films that have done better. But Ben Affleck has had the highest individually grossing film, which was Batman vs. Superman at $873 million.
Wow.
So he individually has had the film that's made the most money, but I would dare say it's because of Matt Damon's sheer numbers that he outperforms in. Ben Affleck has the biggest reported flop, which is a movie called Giggly in 2003. It made $7.3 million with a budget of $75 million. So
Wow.
it made 10% back of what it cost to make. Where Matt Damon's worst film was Downsizing, which I quite liked. You ever see that film?
Yeah, that was a cool concept.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. Where that only made $55 million and cost 68 to make. So a small loss in comparison to whatever Giggly was. They were both in Air. That earned $89 million worldwide, which is a bit disappointing for a film that was really, really good. That didn't make much. So, what are your thoughts? Who do you think has had the biggest success, and which actor you like the most?
I think they're both excellent actors, but I think Matt Damon's been in quite a lot of movies, but that's because he's more focusing on acting. But I can't think of a legendary movie with Ben Affleck that's rivals Matt Damon.
I think Ben Affleck is a better actor, but Matt Damon has been in a lot more films. But he's been in a lot of films I thought weren't for me. Where Ben Affleck, some of my favorite films of his are probably not the ones that he's had the most success with, but films like The Town, I really enjoyed The Town. So I just feel like maybe Matt Damon's a better actor. Sorry, Ben Affleck. The Accountant. I haven't seen the second one, but I really enjoyed the first one. I actually think Ben Affleck is a better actor. I think Matt Damon's been in some big films, but he's also been in some really weird ones. So even though I like Downsizing, I can't see Ben Affleck doing that. Ben Affleck seems to only really do serious roles, where Matt Damon will go comedy roles, but Matt Damon also does comedy pretty well. So, so I think that's a bit strange. So I reckon Ben Affleck's a better actor. I think Ben Affleck's probably, in my opinion, has had a better career, but I think the numbers don't lie, and it will show that Matt Damon has had a better career. But if we had to compare their best films, I reckon if I did a top 5, I reckon I'd find Ben Affleck would have more movies in the top 5 or top 10 than Matt Damon would. But, if you ask 10 other people to do it, I think Matt Damon probably wins most of the time. But in my opinion, I'm a bigger fan of Ben Affleck. If I see a movie with Ben Affleck in it, I'm more excited than one with Matt Damon. Because I think Ben Affleck's very selective and he's in less and they're better roles. What's your thoughts?
I can see that reasoning. I think they're both great actors.
Let's bring it up. Let's ask. Let's go. Best movies. Okay, so Matt Damon, for instance, we've got Good Will Hunting, Air, The Last Duel, Dogma. For Ben Affleck, though, we've got Argo, Gone Girl, The Town, Dazed and Confused, The Accountant. Matt Damon, we've also got The Bourne Identity, Martian, Departed, Saving Private Ryan, Ocean's 11, The Talented Mr. Ripley. So I think, for him, Matt Damon, I think most people will go, there's a lot more films in there that, that were better. But for me, I personally think that The Town is probably always one of my favourite films out of all that. The Accountant was really good. And in saying that, Air, who do you think it focuses more on, Ben Affleck or Matt Damon?
Matt Damon.
Probably focused more on Matt Damon, but I thought Ben Affleck's role in it was really good. So it's very hard to compare the two, but I reckon if I see a film with Ben Affleck in it, I'm more excited about it than a Matt Damon film. That is mainly because I'm probably didn't get into the Bourne Identity, series. So a lot of people really love that. So that would probably take up a lot of people's favorite films with those two in it.
Yeah, I like those movies as well. Oh, we got a comment.
Says, I'm a Boston guy, so the debate I'm having with myself constantly. That's fair. So I reckon, I don't know. Maybe someone that's from Boston, whether you think that Ben Affleck represents Boston a bit better. Like I wouldn't have known. Like, I also know Ben. That's where Matt Damon's from because of they grew up together. But I feel like Matt Damon plays a lot of roles Ben Affleck, where he explicitly knows he's from Boston. Obviously, The Town is a movie set in Boston. So I think, to me, he seems to probably represent the Boston area better. So that's my thought. So I know I'm just very obsessed with the movie The Town. So that's why I think I like Ben Affleck better.
How many times have you seen The Town?
Maybe 10. Probably
Wow.
up there with one of my most watched films. I think it's really, really good. I think it's So yeah, that's where I'm heading towards. Okay, so yeah, it's hard to try and split the two. Also, I'm going to stick with the thought that I think Ben Affleck is a better actor. Matt Damon's maybe had a more successful career, but as I said, Ben Affleck is focused more doing things behind the camera more so than what Matt Damon has.
Yes.
And Matt Damon's basically an Australian now. He just lives up the road from us in Byron Bay, so I think that's where he spends most of his time these days. The Town, The Departed probably have to be the two best movies involving either of them.
Very true.
Tough to pick which one is better.
The Departed is an amazing movie.
Okay, so that's what we had on the run sheet. Anything else you want to talk about, Jacob, before we start to wrap this up?
I'll ask our guest, Sully Streams, what his thoughts about Marvel Rivals are.
Okay.
If he comments, but
like the game?
Marvel Zombies.
Marvel Zombies. Okay, so have you seen Marvel Zombies, Sully Streams? Might be waiting a while. Okay, while we wait to see if we get a response, anything else you want to chat about?
I guess, what are you looking forward to watching?
This year or next year?
Just
in the future.
It can. I actually haven't seen it yet.
The Hurt is not bad though. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm looking forward to coming out, as mentioned before, Fallout. I thoroughly enjoyed the first Fallout series, so that's probably the thing I'm most excited for. Weirdly looking forward to Wicked Part 2. I really thought Wicked Part 1 was a lot of fun.
I might be in the minority, but I actually didn't like the first Wicked.
Yeah, you've got to be into musicals. I don't think.
I enjoyed Wonka though.
Yeah, but I mean, like classic musicals, like Wonka was written for screen. But like, unless you're someone that goes to a lot of musicals and well into it, like Wicked is like one of the longest running musicals of all time. So it's, you got to be a musical fan to really enjoy it. I think it makes absolutely no sense to the Wicked of Oz story. Like it's very much like they've added a backstory and it does not make sense.
Yeah.
But I think as a standalone thing, Wicked's pretty fun. But yeah, so I just enjoyed the movie. I think because it was something a bit different and the songs are weirdly very, very catchy.
Yes.
So that's probably the two things that I'm looking forward to. Fallout Season 2 and Wicked Part 2.
And where are you hoping the story goes with Fallout for Season 2?
Obviously we'll find a bit more out about what's going on with the different vaults. We'll learn a bit more about the corporations that are using these vaults as social experiments, and start to see what happens a bit more with that stuff that people that played the game would already know. But myself, as someone that hasn't played the game, I'm excited to be surprised. And what are you looking forward to?
Obviously, Fallout. Looking forward to seeing Avatar. Not really.
Oh, it'd be pretty. You just mute it and just look at the pictures. You can just set Avatar as like screensaver on your computer and something, and just have it running in the background. That's what it reminds me of. Like at home, my TV is one of those the ones that show photos all the time. I feel like you just put Avatar on, and that could just be your photo. You don't need the words.
No.
Okay. You want to wrap it up?
Well, thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. As always, you're awesome and keep being awesome. And see you in the next video or live stream.
See you later.
Bye-bye.